My story begins around the time of 1979. At a time when lots of families purchased many larger goods from a mail-order catalog, a thick, heavy, shiny department store in a book type of thing. When I was really young and a new catalog dropped through the letterbox, I would scurry through the pages to find the toy section first. However, in my early teens I would skulk off to my room with the catalog and quickly seek out the women's lingerie section first. For educational purposes only, of course. When the summer holidays came round, I was usually packed off to my auntie's for a few days at the beginning of the break. She was very much in the mold of a head teacher, around mid-50s in age, with a classic 1950s look, hair tied up in a bun, and always wearing a skirt and blouse. When I was younger, I thought that she seemed quite old-fashioned, and thought that she was still in the war. When I became interested in the lingerie section of the catalogue, I became very curious about what the underwear models were wearing. My aunt seemed to be wearing something similar underneath her clothes. My mission became, therefore, to try and prove, at every opportunity, to catch a glimpse of my aunt's underwear, to see, if indeed, she was wearing stockings and one of those lacy big bra things. It took a while of looking, but after a couple of days I could vouch that she did wear tan stockings with a white suspender belt. It also became pretty obvious that she was wearing a lacy bra, as it was always visible through her top, especially when she wore a thin white one. One summer, towards the end of my time of staying with my aunt, I had to put up with some extra items of furniture in my room, as my aunt's son was decorating her room at the weekends, making quite a slow job of it. Oh. Just one thing, you'll have to mind all the stuff that's been stacked against the wall in your room. Peter, her son, is going to decorate my bedroom at the weekend, she said, as we pulled into the driveway. Now, at the age I was, and constantly thinking about women's clothing, caused my heart to flutter a bit, but it also caused a stirring down below. As we both stepped in through the front door, my aunt quickly announced, "You don't need me to show you where to go anymore. You're a big boy, you should know where everything is by now." I thought to myself, she's telling me. As I entered my room, my heart began to race slightly. Why? Because right beside my bed was my aunt's chest of drawers from her bedroom. That, I knew, as I had caught glimpses of her in the past pulling out her underwear from them drawers when I walked past her bedroom door, as it was slightly open. It took about 10 milliseconds for me to decide whether or not to take a quick peek inside. Quietly as I could, I eased one of the drawers open, then the daylight highlighted the drawer's contents. It was as if I had been struck by a mild streak of lightning when the drawer's contents became visible. There, in front of my eyes, were dozens of pairs of knickers, white, black, blue, all colors really. Some lacy, some plain, some big, some small. I was in my element. I had to try a pair on. Thinking it was a bit risky to try on a pair in my room, as my aunt might suddenly appear, I thought it best to sneak a pair into the bathroom. Being very careful to not disturb the layout of the drawer, I tried to take a mental picture first, so I could place everything back as I found it, not wanting Auntie to become suspicious. After a little rummage around, I eventually settled upon a big pair of plain white silky panties. I carefully folded them into my pocket and headed off to the bathroom. Once inside the bathroom I took out the panties and offered them up to myself. This is stupid and ridiculous, I thought. Slight disgust was soon taken over by curiosity aided by a huge stirring in my groin area. Breathing heavily, I soon had the panties on, and was just stood staring at myself in the full-length mirror. The feeling was wonderful, which was also physically obvious by the huge bulge literally sticking out of the panties. The fun was over, very quickly. A while later, I had recovered somewhat and started to look forward to bedtime, which in my mind was going to be a cross-dressing adventure, all in the comfort of my own room. I decided that at around 10 o'clock was a good time to head for my room, as my aunt was usually in bed by that time. I kinda concluded that I would have all night to experiment. 10 o'clock arrived, I said goodnight to my aunt and I almost sprinted off to my room. Once inside, I started to explore all the drawers. Around 3 of the drawers had some kind of underwear contained within. I guessed that I was a similar size to my aunt, so hopefully most items would fit well. I really wanted to find a suspender belt, which I quickly did. A wide black lacy belt with thick straps, all in the drawer together with her bras, and some corset type of things. Next, I found some matching stockings and black lacy panties. I sat a while, deciding how best to actually put this thing on. Do I put on the belt or the panties first? I kept on saying to myself in my head. I eventually decided to put the belt on first, as I figured out that I might not be able to pull down the panties if they were trapped in the suspender straps. Good choice. The next problem was a real head-scratcher, securing the belt to the stockings. Luckily, as a couple of the grips were kind of fastened already, it gave me a good idea as to how to fasten the stockings to the belt. After all of this, I decided that this was enough for now. After all, working out how to put on a bra was probably next-level stuff. I climbed into bed, the feeling of my legs in nylon sliding against the insides of the bedsheets was amazing. I kept on feeling and sliding my legs around inside the sheets for ages, so much so that I fell asleep. The next thing that I knew was it was light, and my aunt was knocking at my door. Shit! I was still dressed in my aunt's lingerie from the previous night. I had no time to do anything, other than pull the bed covers up. The door slowly opened with a, "Sorry sweetheart, I forgot that most of my clothes were still inside my wardrobe and drawers, which you have in your room."